This is Hadrian Radio, coming to you from Free Catalonia, a KA radio production.
If you don't do politics, the system will do politics against you. Joan Fuster. Good afternoon, this is David Rabantos. This is chapter 32 of Radio Hadrian. As always, thanks to Cheryl Scott and KA Radio, the voice of new music, for making possible something is not possible to do in Catalonia nowadays, because we live under tremendous censorship that makes it impossible to tell the truth about the so-called Catalan process to independence. In this chapter, I'd like to briefly go on about the news we read from Scotland here, which are not too much, and a bit also about the Brexit, and then going on a bit about referendums. And then we'll tell you what the situation here is with the new president of Catalonia in a few days to come, and then explain how the resistance is growing. And we're hoping to go to Scotland soon enough, and we're hoping that there's also very strongly organized resistance in Scotland, so we can topple both regimes in UK and Spain and declare independence unilaterally, which is the only way to do so in Scotland, in Catalonia. So without much further ado, we go forwards. Today it's you're listening to this the 21st of January 2018. We say this because these programs can last forever. We can go back to them, and you realize that we had foreseen has happened. That's why I'm putting the date on them. Some news that have reached here. One way is that the support for a second independence referendum, according to what has leaked here, is going down. It was like with around 54 against 36 in favor of referendum and 10 people not positioning themselves. We know that, I think it was Benjamin Disraeli that said that there were lies, damn lies, and statistics. It wasn't it. And well, nowadays you could say there's lies, damn lies, and opinion polls. But even so, we have to realize, and maybe it's a good idea that for you Scottish people to take a good look into the Catalan process, because it's easier to defeat cognitive dissonance when you realize the thorough betrayal that the independence field in Catalonia is suffering by every so-called pro-independence media, every so-called grassroots organization, every so-called political party here. It's easier to see how we Catalans are being betrayed by our own side, and then you only need to make a second step and bring it home. You've had 56 out of 59 seats in Westminster, and you know that the SNP manifesto in the 80s and Margaret Thatcher and everybody said that the only thing you need is to have a majority of pro-Indy members in Westminster sent from Scotland to declare independence. So if the SNP has had 56 out of 59, and only thing it takes is to have a majority of pro-Indy members in Westminster coming from Scotland, and they haven't declared, then they're not for independence. And I'm sorry, but it's that's not debatable. And that explains why you've had majority in Holyrood and 56 out of 59 in London, and they haven't declared. And the same news that got here said that the pro-Indy parties might lose a majority in Holyrood by 2021. So then the dream of independence will be over. Contrary to what Alex Salmond in his Memories of the Pre-Referendum 100 Days called his book, The Dream Shall Never Die. It's not a matter of dreaming, it's a matter of making dreams come true. So as we say time and time again, it's time to look for new leaderships, new parties to deliver independence, because certainly the SNP hasn't delivered. And another thing related to this is, It has got around here in Barcelona news that there might be a second Brexit referendum, and as we said in chapter 3, referendums are not to satisfy people's will, are there only to twist our will, and they keep doing referendums until the result is the result they want. So now it seems a second Brexit referendum is in the books, which will change the result of the first one and will have a double effect, and we said this beforehand. It will have the effect that northern countries that are considering leaving European Union once realize that going through all the trouble and shenanigans that the UK is going to end up in nothing, maybe it's not worth it, and maybe it's better to conform and to stay in European Union after all. But secondly, and as we said in several times, linking independence of Scotland to Brexit is to betray independence, because you're making it impossible and you're making it dependent on something else. How much of a joke is to claim you want independence for your country and you make that independence depend on something like quitting or staying in European Union? It doesn't make sense. Dependence means independence. It doesn't mean you want independence only depending on certain other things. But that makes it mathematically impossible. That's one of the things that we have very clear here in the Catalan resistance. It's not about left-wing, right-wing. It's not about belonging to European Union or not. It's not about languages. It's not about the greater Catalan countries. It's not about none of these things. It's independence first, and every other decision is taken by the independent people of Scotland once you've managed it. Otherwise, you'll never get there. So we keep insist you take a good look at what goes on in Catalonia, because we're going to make this happen, but we're going to topple a whole tremendous system of deception. That's what they're going on about. This week in Catalonia we have a new parliament. You know that there are some members of parliament which are in Brussels and some other members of parliament are in prison, but some adjustments were made, so the majority of so-called pro-Indy parties wasn't altered. And the new sleek, smooth president of parliament guy, which has been promoted, nobody knew of him 1 month ago, and he's been promoted for a month, and then last minute, bang, he is the president of parliament. How peculiar, isn't it? And now this guy has said that he is there to recover the institutions and to mend convivence between different communities. Sorry, I thought we had declared the Catalan Republic some weeks ago, isn't it? Oh, but no, of course. What we had in October was 2 fake unilateral declarations of independence, because all of you members of parliament work for Spain. So now we have this new invented out of nowhere Madrid mole of name Roger Torrent, claiming things that every unionist member of Catalan parliament could claim as his or her own words, to recover the institutions and to reclaim convivence between communities. What happened to independence, dude? We've gone back to 1975, just wanting prisoners on the street and getting some sort of autonomy? Was that it? No, it's not. It's about independence. And that's why we are going to be playing around for 10 days, members of Spanish government saying that you cannot be president from outside Spain. Catalan, the regime, the internal regime of the Catalan parliament doesn't allow for this to happen. So we are in this kind of soap, this lengthy soap the Catalan process has become for the last 8 years. Now it's a new season. A lot of actors are not renewed in this next season, like Artur Mas and Carme Forcadell and so on. And new actors and actresses come in. And now every day we need to be hooked on television to see what's going to happen, if the pro-Indy parties were going to fight one another. And that's why Spain ordered the 3 stooges that are taking the pro-Indy vote, Esquerra Republicana, Junts per Catalunya, PDeCAT, and CUP, that they didn't go in a joint list, which is the only reasonable thing to have done. But of course they worked for Spain, and of course they went in 3 different lists, and of course they let people get the feeling that Ciudadanos, the unionist, neo-fascist party, obtained more seats and votes. So now we are not Nostradamus here. We know what the plan of Spain is, which is to murder independence through a rigged referendum which will be agreed to be done in 2019, which will avoid independence of Catalonia, avoid contagion in Scotland and other places, protect the traitors that run the Catalan politics, murder independence for 100 years, because they've let us get so close to it that the depression will be enormous, and give the impression that there's democracy in Spain because there's going to be a referendum, and on top of that mock us. Because some of the guys that have made more to avoid Catalan independence are in fake prison sentences where they are mourned and praised and supported by people having yellow ribbons, while these guys actually work for Spain. And that's the objective, and all those objectives will be obtained by an agreed referendum, which will happen in 2018 or 2019. To obtain all that, there was violence in the referendum of the 1st of October. The 1st of October, there was agreed violence between the Catalan government and Spanish government. And that's why there was a joint meeting 3 days before the referendum. And then we have inside information, because this program does some social service. This program is not only the radio station of the Catalan resistance, which will be supported by a documentary film and a book and a political party, and if things go right, a weekly digital newspaper. This is the only way you can go with. You cannot go to Catalan police, you cannot go to the Catalan ombudsman, you cannot go to nobody, because they would do nothing with the information you bring them. We don't live in democracy in Catalonia, so the only place where some things can be said is this program. So that's why we ask you to please share it with everybody you know who speaks English and cares about Catalonia or Scotland, because if we deliver independence in Catalonia, independence for Scotland will be so much closer. The question was, the 1st of October, we have people who happen to have friends or acquaintances, because it's difficult to have friends with somebody who wants to hit your countrymen. But the people who were in this Warner Bros. Tweety boat in Barcelona port were in contact with some Catalan people, and they said, relax, because we've been told not to hurt people and to let things go smoothly. Then 3 days before the referendum, there's the joint meeting between Catalan government and Spanish government about security issues. And the next day, this person calls our contact, our source, and says, don't go out on the street the 1st of October. There's going to be extreme violence. Stay home. Don't go voting. Well, we already knew. But this for us clarifies without a shadow of doubt that both Catalan and Spanish government agreed on the violence to support this idea of violence, which will make necessary international negotiators to help reach an agreement between Catalan and Spanish government to finally do a referendum which will be lost and rigged, as referendums always are, because we are let down by our own side, which doesn't do the things properly in a way it can be won. And that violence also gave an excuse. If you, we said before, there's an Arab proverb saying, if you want to do a thing, you find a way, and if you don't want to do it, you find an excuse. Catalan leaders have said, we're not enough, we are not ready, unilateral way is not the right way. We didn't expect Spain to react like this. And the worst one, Marta Rovira, a person that would be in a very hard time. I mean, she went through the same thing Jim Carrey goes in the Liar Liar film, because this woman hasn't been known to be telling one truth since she left primary school. It's a person that lied to us, saying that 1st of October we would vote like always, which we didn't. Has done 2 fake declarations of independence as one of the 72 members of parliament which have done so. And didn't declare independence 18 months after we gave them mandate in the 27th of September 2015. So this liar, Marta Rovira, came out a few weeks ago to say that they didn't declare independence because Spain would have used force and killed people about this. And that is the excuse they need. What we're talking here is not about violence. Spain runs Catalonia by infiltration. Infiltration of every political party, media, grassroots organization, social media. They run all of that. Almost every Facebook group which are supposed to be pro-Indi is run by Spanish government chills. And but if your strategy is infiltration, of course you need to disinform, you need to disorient, so you need to say that your strategy is violence. So then you have one infiltrated like Marta Rovira herself saying that the strategy is violence. Well, the strategy is infiltration. Another thing is a woman that became famous. She's called Marta Torrecillas. She said the Spanish police had broken finger by finger every finger on her hand. Well, we have found out that she doesn't live in Barcelona, so she shouldn't have been around Barcelona on a voting day. She happens to be a very good friend or Taliban supporter of Joan Puigcercós, which was the leader of Esquerra Republicana not so long ago, and thus working for Spain. But on top of that, we've learned that she is not very good friend with the truth since she was little, because we are speaking with people everywhere in Catalonia. Every day we get information. And how it happens that this woman didn't have every finger broken, and it happens that when she appears on television, she had the other hand bandaged. How about that? Of course, there was a lot of hurt people the 1st of October, but as you know, it happens in false flag, as you know, it happens with these special effect things. The people that are the main witnesses, the people that have the main parts, they are actors or they are in some sort of cahoots with the things that happen. So yes, the pulling of hair, yes, the kicking were real, but the witnesses, the people who are speaking, these people works for the enemy. One important thing to say about this, and then they've done a documentary now because the police hit harder in front of the cameras, and now there's a documentary film which will be shown in European Union, has been shown in Catalonia to have everybody very angry against these policemen. So we finally have a referendum that will kill independence for 100 years. Not in our lives. We are the resistance and we're growing every day, and we're not going to let this happen. As it was to be expected, Spain has already, well, one thing is important. You always say in Scotland you wish we had the media we have in Catalonia. Well, we have TV3, which is the main television here, which hasn't reported anything about the truth about this process, about people being kidnapped, hijacked, tortured, dying in strange circumstances. They have noticed nothing about the Scottish referendum rigging. They have said not one single truth about the whole process. And that's why Spain decided not to intervene Catalan television. Catalan television wouldn't be a weapon of mass disinformation if the Catalans thought, or knew, better said, that it's run by Spain. So Spain has to keep running TV3 while pretending to hate it. If they officially intervene it would stop being a useful tool. It's perverse, it's psyop, but it's true. The same goes with Catalunya Radio, which is the Catalan radio station, which publishes some interviews and blocks us from informing. We don't have any access to media, the Catalan independentist, and we need to do programs from abroad. What to say about VilaWeb? VilaWeb run by a close friend of Catalan President Carles Puigdemont. Punt Avui run by an intimate friend of Carles Puigdemont. Everything is run. Then you have Catalonia Today run by the wife of Carles Puigdemont and set up by Carles Puigdemont himself. So there is less freedom of information that you would expect in totalitarian regimes. Everything is either public, subsidized, or run by cronies of Carles Puigdemont. Carles Puigdemont that we clarified in chapter 3, that has been infiltrated by Spain at least for the last 14 years. That's why he was catapulted to be president 2 years ago in the first place. We don't have, all our media are run by the enemy, but we don't know it. So that's why we need to break away with everything we love. We need to escape Plato's cavern, Plato's cave, because the impression we get about world has nothing to do with what the world is. At last, I want to explain what we're doing here in Catalonia. Friday, we were in Camprodon. Camprodon is around, it's quite close to France. It's a mountainous area of around 2,500 people there. And there we met with some Catalan resistance, and we met a group of 50 or 40 entrepreneurs, and we told them the message about the resistance. And we have conferences in several places in Catalonia to tell people the truth about this process. And it's a fire that they cannot put off. And we keep growing in support because every day people comes to us, join us, and they come with the information about this rotten regime. And I'm sure you can do the same thing in Scotland. There must be so many things that prove that SNP don't really want independence, that if you manage, and not that you can get it through the National Wings of Scotland or Bella Caledonia, none of this media works for you. But if you manage to set up something or do a documentary or do something, we're preparing a documentary that will help you in Scotland. But you need to provide yourself with new media, because every media you have doesn't work for independence. Only works for the pretense of independence, which is very different. And as we are growing in support and we're getting more information and more people are listening to this program, especially in the Catalan version, we need to push up the English and Spanish versions. But everyday people listen to the program and says, it's the same thing I knew. And I have some information, I didn't know what to do with it. So Spain has been fighting against the Catalan resistance in general, and me in personal, for the last 4 years. And we are the only threat they have. And that's why now people that have got close to us, people that have ignored us for 4 years, or people linked to micro groups that have been attacking the people we are in Catalan resistance, now, after 4 years, now they realize the Catalan process is doomed. And now Spain is putting support and money behind this kind of every man and his dog to set up parallel projects to avoid that the hundreds of thousands or millions of people that are disenchanted and are disappointed in the official Catalan process reach us. And we have people organizing assemblies, people that have agreed to meet with us 3 times, and then they disappear, don't show up, and then they tell us to join them. Well, thanks but no thanks. For 4 years, Spain has sent people, threatened us, waste our time, manipulated us in as many ways. We are not going to join any Spanish project so they can neutralize us. So that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen also with people making videos out of nowhere and trying to get the people that are discontent with the official process. We are the resistance. We are here to stay. We're growing stronger every day. We will deliver independence the next 23 months and a bit. And then after that, we'll be able to help humbly, because you're going to do this yourselves. But we're going to be a strong help for Scotland to declare the independence that your own side is stealing from you. We are winning. We are going to win this. Visca Escòcia I Catalunya lliures.
This is Hadrian Radio, coming to you from Free Catalonia, a KA Radio production.